Okay, so perfectionism, right? Oftentimes it feels like productivity, but it's usually fear in some sort of disguise. So I want to talk about some causes and solutions. Let's get right into it. Number one, I would say, is the illusion of perfection online and the comparison culture. You have things like social media and YouTube and all these other things where you can look at pretty much the entire world in the span of a day, and you're not even really looking at their entire life. You're looking at clips and highlights. I believe, whether we realize this or not, this is contributing to us needing to show up in some really perfect way. And because we're only seeing highlights, we tend to think that our whole life needs to look like that. But in reality, it's just not true. 99% of what you see online, in my opinion, is just fake. Or, like I said, it's just highlights. The quicker you can learn this and just internalize that into how you perceive online, the better. So, how do we solve this? Well, number one, I would say limit consumption. Okay, you need to just straight out or flat out limit the consumption of social media or YouTube and all of that, and pay attention to your own life more than the lives of others. This is going to solve a lot of the issues just naturally. The second thing you can do is to unfollow people that give you that sense of perfectionism or make you feel like you have to live a certain way. And along with that, follow people who you deem as real, because that's going to help you be as real as you want to be. So if someone is learning something that you're learning and you can see the mistakes that they're making along the way, I would say pay more attention to them rather than someone at the finish line already, especially if they're not being transparent with the way they got there. But overall, know that what you see online is curated and not reality in most cases. Number two is a false sense of urgency. So a lot of this tends to come from content that tells you you're doing things too slow or that you're wasting your life, and a lot of these titles that I can go on about. But you really need to sit there and pause and ask yourself, what is the rush? What is the urgency here? What am I missing out on? Am I missing out on anything at all? And more importantly, what if I slow down? What's the worst that can happen? You'll often find, if you just trace these questions, that there's no need to just rush yourself into things. Most of this pressure that we put on ourselves, it doesn't really come from a correct place. So this is just something that you should start to be aware of and question it and answer it. In many cases, you'll find that because you're allowed to go slow, that you'll end up going faster. I noticed this in my own life. I don't have to do anything very fast, but because I really don't have to, I actually want to. I know that doesn't make sense. I'll talk about that in another video sometime, but for now, just try to be aware of a false sense of urgency. Number three is trying to make up for lost time. And this kind of goes in hand with number two, a false sense of urgency. Most of the time, we have an urgency because we feel like we've wasted time and we want to recover the time that we lost and pretend it never happened. Just stop now and realize that we all waste time. I waste time, you waste time, your neighbor wastes time, your dog wastes time, everyone wastes time. And the quicker that you internalize that, the better, because you won't feel this need to speed up or play catch up or rush yourself, because that's only going to stress you out anyways. And really see trying to make up for lost time as wasting time, because what you're going to do is fall into a trap of trying to do things perfect, trying to do things correct, and that actually is a waste of time. So the way you don't waste time is to stop trying to recover lost time, because recovering lost time is wasting time. Rewind and listen to that again if it didn't make sense. Okay, number four is the fear of being perceived a certain way or irrelevant opinions. Firstly, just know that you cannot control what people think about you. And it really doesn't matter what they think about you, because only you know what you are and who you are. And the best thing you can do is focus on the truth and what you do and what you are intending to do, and just let that guide you. And when those fears pop up, or concerns or things like that, I would say try to question it and trace that question along. So when I used to work in Japan, I would often ask myself before work, what happens if I forget words mid-sentence? What if my clients ask me something super advanced and I cannot explain it? What if I can't understand them or they can't understand me? And I would trace these questions to some sort of end, and I would often realize that there was really no problem. or there was nothing that bad that would happen. What this did for me is it allowed me to just speak stress-free and make as many mistakes as I wanted to. And this actually helped me perform a lot better. And I kind of apply this mindset to anything I do, whether it be learning a new skill or guitar, piano, or something. If I mess up, I just go back, slow it down, fix it, and move on. I'm not really worried about trying to perform a certain perfect way or having the perfect routine or any of that. And I know it sounds counterintuitive, but you will get a lot more done when you stop trying to do things perfect. If you continue to do this and live your life in sort of a not caring what people think, except the right people, what's going to happen is you will repel people that should not be around you, and you will attract the people that you want to be around you. And this way you can be your natural and true self, and you'll really eliminate the need to show up perfect or have some perfect routine and all that going on, because there's no pressure anymore. That's pretty much how I live my entire life, by the way. So if you want to just copy what I do, do that. Repel people who don't have anything to do with you and attract the people that do. And the basis of that is complete freedom. So, number 5, all or nothing mindset. You know, some people think you either have to do things perfect or not at all. And this is a very dangerous mindset to have, because both of these are extremely detrimental. One, perfection doesn't exist, so you'll never really get there. And doing nothing is just that, doing nothing. What you need to know is that progress is often like a 70-80% zone, where that's completion. I know progress over perfection is like an overused quote, but really that's how you should live your life. Progress is progress and perfection is fake. And to go along with this, point number 1 about like unfollowing people that you don't need to be following and following the correct people. This helped me because I'll see people who make mistakes in the things that I'm interested in, and it inspires me to go make mistakes and just practice and not try to show up and be some perfect image. Okay, number 6, tying your identity to your performance. There's really not much to say here. It's just that, you know, whatever you produce or whatever you do or however you perform is not who you are as a person. And it's best to detach those two things. I would say you should pay attention more to the effort rather than the outcomes. And this is also going to free you up a little bit. Number 7, this one kind of flies under the radar for some people, but it could be parental or childhood pressure. And really, that's all I have to say there. It's just that. Start to be aware of it, and you can find your own solutions to that. I'm not a therapist or anything, so I can't give you advice on how to fix that. But if you're aware of it and you understand like where that pressure is coming from, maybe you can find your own solution there. Number 8 is using control as a safety measure. And I would say that it's okay to not have everything figured out. And honestly, the more you become comfortable with not having everything figured out, the more you'll be able to do. Control is often like, and I struggle with this a lot too. Control is, it's a never-ending goal, if that makes sense. I don't know how to articulate that. It's a finish line that keeps moving, right? Because you can control so much, and then you find more that you try to control, and then you try to control that, and then more things pop up. This can go from performance to even just taking notes or learning things. You try to have everything set in place before you move. This whole illusion of control, it will stop you right at the starting line, and you'll never really move. So the quicker you understand that this is just a false reality, the better. And you can just start to move and find things along the way. And lastly, fear of wasting time. You know, we often fall into the perfectionist trap because we're trying to save time, and we fear that doing things the wrong way is going to make us waste time. But in reality, trying to do things the correct way, which doesn't exist, that makes us waste time. The quicker you realize that trying to have a start to finish plan before starting is the worst thing to do, the quicker you can just go start. Try to lay out the next few steps or the next couple of things and go from there. And as you get on each, like as you progress through that part, you'll probably find the next thing or the next few things that you need. I've talked about this before, but piano, when I started piano, this was a big problem for me because I tried to find this whole curriculum, I tried to find this whole plan, and it took me years to finally just sit down and practice because I was so worried about the advanced things that I would learn later when I didn't even know the basics. And because I didn't have a start to finish goal, I would just abandon it and I would go back to playing guitar. And that was like my productive procrastination. Oh, well, I'm just going to play guitar instead and not learn the piano. And finally, after maybe, what, 4 years? I think it was 3 or 4 years, I just started learning the basics on piano. And I said, I'm not going to worry about a curriculum. I'm not going to worry about with the advanced things I learned later. I'm just going to start learning the basics just like I did for guitar. And now I've pretty much gotten to the point where I've covered those things that I was worried about. And this came from taking those, just the necessary steps along the way. Funny enough, this is actually how I learned guitar. I would just get a DVD course because YouTube wasn't really popular back then, or it wasn't even out, I think. But I would buy a DVD course and I would just learn that. And then I would go get another course and I would learn that. And then I would look up some things on the forums, and back when Reddit was good, I would look on that and I would practice those things. And that got me to an advanced level. And it's so strange that I forgot what actually worked for me. And so getting back to that on piano has really solidified my belief in just taking the next necessary steps. So try to do that. Don't fear wasting time, and you'll actually save a lot of time because of that. That all being said, come and revisit this video whenever you need to. Just pick a point if you need to refresh it, take notes if you need to, and then go take action. Take as much action as you can. Keep these in mind, and they actually will help you take more action. I will talk about that specifically in a video soon, just about how to do things more and get momentum going. So stay tuned for that. If you did find this helpful, you can leave a like. It helps me out and the channel out and gets it out to other people like us. And you can subscribe if you want and hit the bell if you want. But if you don't do any of that, I might send this to come get you. Also, I just want to say thank you to all the patrons and channel members. I've never actually asked anyone to become a member, or I don't even think I've ever mentioned it on this channel until right now. But somehow you guys have found it and supported me, so thank you. All that money goes right back into the channel, by the way, just to be completely transparent. Other than that, I like to keep everything pretty much free, so there's no obligation to become a patron or member. It's just to support the channel and support what I do here. Anyways, love you guys. Stay safe.